Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Tom. So, today I want to talk to you about a show called The Fantasticks from 1960. But before I do, I've been told by other successful YouTubers that at this point of the video, I'm to ask you to please subscribe. I need subscribers. I'm getting a lot of views, but not a lot of subscribers. Subscribers help the channel grow, and it really helps when I'm asking for sponsors to pay me to do videos. No one ever says that, but that's kind of the truth. I need more subscribers. Please subscribe now. Are you doing it? Good. Thank you. So, The Fantastics, built in 1960, it's got some problems. Okay? The first act is lots of fun, but here's the pluses it's short, it doesn't take much of a set, and it's only one costume per show. Okay? And it's a relatively small cast. So it's got some pluses for you. Now, just because it has a minimal set doesn't mean that you should do something cheap and boring. It should be an excellent set. And there are different ways you can go about the design. You can go with a very flat moon cutout. Okay, that's great. That works. You can go with like no set, but I think you should build a set. When they first did it, they had a concept a little bit in their brains of Italian commedia and how they roll their cart town to town. I'm not saying put a cart on stage, but there are several old pictures of commedia on these very simple stages, which are slightly up, about a foot off the ground, and four poles, a curtain. Sometimes there was a torn curtain, which makes it more interesting. A torn curtain that was sewn together in different artworks. That's kind of interesting. The two fathers, which is a little boring these days. I would do a father and a mother. Is the father of the son, is that them, or is it the mother of a son, or is it the father of a daughter, or the mother of a daughter? They're neighbors, and the parents get the children together. What works for you? Because as it was originally conceived, there are some problems, and a bit of that is that it was all men and one girl. Okay, so let's update this. It's got beautiful songs, and it's a little meta. It's a little in your face audience, interact with the audience. It has a narrator, which is a great way to interact more with the audience. That'd be fun. You could even have the narrator come out and go, in 1960, this musical came out, and blah, blah. It's got a few things. We made a few changes. Why not? If you have the narrator, El Gallo, you can do anything. Anything, anything. And I have some ideas about that. The first act is fun, and we really get a feel of the show. And the second act is not as fun, but why don't we lean into it? The problematic pieces, songs, themes in shows will not go away. Okay, they just won't. Why did they write this? Are we going to toss out the whole show because it needs to be updated? The first stuff is offensive. And in the second act, there's some offensive things. Now, I'm not going to say the one word that is really offensive that should never have been created, but I'm going to let you look it up in the research and see what you think. I am in favor of, now just hold on. I'm in favor of that section where they talk about an abduction, and there is a suggestion to abduct the daughter so the boy can save her. Not good. But if the whole time, now I admit I didn't go deep into the second act with the extra characters because of my idea. Okay, sometimes you can't really go deep into these things and go, why are these extra characters there that don't really have any lines and so forth? Why are they there? But my mind flashed on a solution. The fathers are singing about an abduction. The offensive word has been changed in many different iterations of this to raid. Okay? Let's pay for a fake raid, if that works for you. There's a song called Depends on What You Pay. And there are simple solutions to this. But what if you have established that these extra characters, one was the Indian, one was the mute, one was the actor. What if you get rid of that completely? Because none of that works anymore. And it makes me mad that they did it in the first place. What if the actor idea and the Indian was the Shakespearean? Because in the song, Depends on What You Pay, there's a really bad line. The rate will be blah, blah, blah. If done by Indians, no. Done by Shakespearean, Indian, Shakespearean. Yes, Shakespearean has more letters, but now to the fact you have this overdressed person on stage as an extra, not doing much, and maybe the other person you have is a pirate, so you automatically have like, that's a weirdo, and that's a pirate. Make him look an evil-looking pirate, however you want to do that. And they're the ones singing the song instead of the parents, the fathers, or the father and the mother. And the father and the mother on the side like, no, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing that to my children. They don't have any lines supporting that, but no, no, no. These things are enough to stop that. No, narrator, this is a bad idea. But these extra people are the stumbling block that this young couple has to overcome, because the whole idea of the abduction is that it's romantic, he'll save the girl, when why don't you just treat it as these two weirdos that are overdressed characters, because the rest of the characters, the leads, are not overdressed. So these two stick out like a sore thumb. They have these antiquated ideas. So you have a Shakespearean in Renaissance, Elizabethan clothing, and you have a pirate who's maybe 18th century, 17th century, and you're like, those two are the villains. Comic villains, yes. And the narrator, who we were on his side the whole time, now is plotting it with them. What a good idea. And we know it's not a good idea. The parents know it's not a good idea. And the fact that they've said no shouldn't be enough. And these two idiots go ahead with it. And what if Matt and Louisa, the young couple, kick the hell out of them with this abduction, this raid? What would that be like? You know, what if she gives them what for, and it doesn't actually happen, but the attempt of it is comedic, and then she's chasing them, and Matt's chasing them. You know, the concept is still there. There is a stumbling block for this couple. They're in danger, and the parents have thought that the being in danger will bring them closer. So you're still kind of getting it in the end. Now, the real ending of the Fantasticks is not a happy ending, okay? Which was, at the time, it was sort of there are these giant musicals happening in the 50s, these big overblown things, wonderful things. And this was a musical in a small house, less than 100 seats, happening in a basement, and people loved it. It ran for 42 years. It's still got good things. It's still got good things. And again, you're going to run into all kinds of pieces in your career that are problematic, and what are you going to do about them? Why not try this one? Why not try this one? With very careful consideration, view that second act as, yes, it's problematic. What can we do to fix this? Because if you really think about it, we're all very clever theater makers, and we have amazing ideas. Is it completely solved? No. But what I've just given you is a good solution. And it's not that much of a twist. You're not really going, I mean, you're not going against the script, but you're not giving any new lines. You're giving new actions. You're giving new silent actions. No, we're not doing this to my kid. You're not saying that, fathers, mother and father. No, no, no. Bad idea, bad idea. You're just making the signals. No. You're definitive about it. Not a bad idea. Not a good idea. Excuse me. And when the young couple is in these fight scenes, and I mean the kind of fight scenes that it just continues. It just continues. So all the next few lines after the abduction, it's still going on. Behind the scenes, running behind the people in front, the leads or whoever's talking in the next few scenes, they're still chasing these bad guys back and forth. Maybe you go as far as to, include your backstage people being chased. You know, your wardrobe person with a batch full of clothes with a headset on, she's being chased. They're doing Muppet arms. Muppet arms are hilarious. Do you know what I mean? If you watch the Muppets and they don't really, when they're scared, they don't really do this. Their their arms shake from here, and it's all the way up here. Hilarious. Really lean into it and see what you can do with it. And the fact that it doesn't have a perfect ending, great. You can still end it slightly differently with the narrator, El Gallo, trying to make amends. We don't see him making amends, but the whole try to remember, follow, 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 is such a beautiful song. And if Matt and Louisa are on opposite sides of the stage, and this whole fight against the bad guys thing hasn't really worked, because that's the way the script is written, but he's trying to get them back together. And if you end it with try to remember what it was like in the first act. And they're, kind of considering each other from both sides of the stage far apart. That's a good enough ending. It's a good enough ending. Is it a happy, perfect, wonderful? No. Do they get married in the end? No. It's not that kind of a show. But really lean into the second act and see what you can do with it. And you can make minimal changes that will really make a difference, make a huge difference. It's a good show. It went for years. The music is good. It's a concept show. Like Cats is a concept show. There's really not that much plot. And the plot in the Fantasticks is here's what you get. There's not much to it, which is fine. You can do a lot with it to make it more fun. And I mean, go at it with comedy. Really go at it with comedy and poignancy. There's nothing super serious about this. It's all very fake and wonderful. I would make your set very interesting. They talk about parenting with a song called Plant a Radish, but they're completely referring to their children. Often it's done in the first act without the children there. But why don't you have them there? My son is a radish, planted this, planted that. And then you have, roll-on plants, okay? They're just flat scenery things that are planted, that are plants or vegetables or whatever, and they roll on. So you know that they are gardeners. Maybe they've been there the whole time, but you roll on other ones on these flat scenery. Maybe you don't do that. Maybe you have another little wagon with actual fake plants. It's all 3D. Maybe you wrap. I'm really in favor of the set that has the 4 posts going up with some sort of lid, however you do it, some sort of connection. And maybe those are wrapped with roses the whole time, okay? Because there is a lot of I'm up in a tree, I'm having these thoughts. And so she's up against one of these posts. It's a good idea. But roll things on, roll things off, use the Shakespearean and the pirate in different ways to roll on furniture, to roll off furniture. I don't think there really needs to be furniture in this. It just depends on what you want to do. Make it your own. Make it your own. The thing is, it can be inexpensive, it's short and lovely, and make it lovely. Make it work for you. And after you've done this and you've realized, I can tackle any problematic piece in any show, we have the knowledge to fix this. Some shows are so unfixable that maybe you can't. This one you can. Very minimally. If I said that, well, I mean it. The Fantasticks. Beautiful music. You don't really need an orchestra, just a piano. It really works. Maybe the Shakespearean plays the piano. Maybe the pirate plays the piano. Maybe El Gallo plays the piano. That really lifts it. Maybe you play in the audience more. Maybe you run through the audience. Just look at it. So I'm gonna link the script, some reviews, some criticisms, which you should read as well, and see if it works for you. And the Fantasticks mostly is styled as an American piece, I think it can be done anywhere, depending on your country. And lead into your country and what those kinds of things work in your country and the attitudes. Okay? And how audience interaction works in your country. I'm telling you, in a lot of places that do Cirque du Soleil, they don't like too much audience participation. I'm not saying you should do that, but being in the audience, find a way to sort of keep your distance. Don't put people on the spot. It's not that kind of interactive show, immersive show. A lot of these immersive shows are going a little too far, and this isn't that piece. I think you're good with El Gallo, the narrator, talking to the audience a lot more. Most of his stuff is done in direct address. He is the narrator, he or she. And these things are good, but running through the audience, I think it's funny, but be careful. You don't want the cast to interact with them too much. They can trust El Gallo. There's only one person who might come towards us. Don't ask your audience to do anything is what I'm saying. And don't sit on their laps, that kind of immersive stuff. It's going a bit too far. And if they want that experience, they have other shows they can do it in, not this show. All right, that's enough for today. See what you think. I know there's going to be some comments being angry about this show. That's just it. There's a lot of shows that you're going to be angry about. What are we going to do about that? What are we going to do? Try and fix what you can. And realize if you can't fix it, then let it go. All right. There's some good things about this piece. All right. Please subscribe. We'll talk again. Thanks.